I am hanging out today with the big time coach, Scott Wolford. Man, this is going to be really awesome. We're talking about state trooper down to nationwide security management. We're talking about beyond the blue, coaching.com, and right into all of the great things, man. His passion is to help you succeed in whatever it is that you want to do.
Let me tell y'all out there a little story, man, and it goes a little something like this.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls and children of all ages, it is yours truly once again, the corporate security translator and the author of So You Want to Get Into Corporate Security. Hanging out today with the coach, Scott Wolford. We're talking about state trooper stuff, man, down to the nationwide security management. We're talking about beyondthebluecoaching.com, where he coaches everybody through their passion, what they want to do in life. And this is really exciting. It's a lot of great stuff, Coach. I'm pumped up to have you on the show. Thank you very much for joining me here today. It's going to be an awesome 30 minutes. Everybody listen up. 30 minutes. Put the time in. This is going to be big. What's up, Coach? How are you?
Hey, good. Welcome from beautiful Ohio.
Ohio.
Yeah. So, Carlos, before we start talking about me, I wanted to talk about you and your achievement of writing a book. That's incredible.
You know, hopefully it's good. Hopefully it's good, man. That's all.
It better be, because I pre-ordered it. So, and my bookshelf of favorite books behind me.
I see.
Look at this. I've got a spot reserved right there for So You Want to Get Into Corporate Security.
Yep.
You want to see what I got discarded from my favorite book collection?
What did you throw away to put mine in there?
Wow. Can you drill a hole through your head and survive? It's a classic. I'll send it to you if you want to read it. Well, let me say, if your book's good, I'll send you this one.
Hey, there you go. We'll switch it up.
Yeah,
we'll switch it up.
Right.
It's funny because I was going to use my little noisy thing, but man, it's just something is wrong. It's not working today, but it's fine. We're going to be just fine. You know, I'll just make the little I'll bring back my singing nays and make some noises as we go. But listen,
excellent.
I'm a big fan, and I know you have so much to offer to folks that are right now transitioning from the military, law enforcement, emergency services, and the federal careers. So I had to bring you in. A little bit of time that we talked, I was really excited about the stuff that we talked about, and man, I was like, man, I got to get him in. I got to get him in. So here you are. I don't want to talk. I don't want to tell the folks all about you. You can do that yourself. You're the greatest at it, not because you're full of yourself. There's plenty of people in our industry, right? No, but listen, why don't you tell a little bit about yourself? Tell the folks.
All right. Scott Wolford. I am a retired Ohio State Trooper. Retired back in 2010. Unfortunately, a little prematurely, I was involved in a motorcycle accident on my way to work. Just about a 20-minute commute to work. I got a couple miles from the post, and someone turned left in front of me. I hit him in the front passenger side tire and did the old Superman over the hood. I wouldn't recommend it. Love motorcycles. It's been my passion my entire life. Used to get in trouble for climbing up on my dad's motorcycle and starting it up. He learned really quick not to leave the keys in it. But, riding my whole life, any chance I got. It was 46 degrees that morning. I was still riding, just got to go. It was a good way to unwind before and after work. So anyways, I hit the car, wake up in the squad. Thinking, man, this sucks. This sucky nightmare. And then it hit me. So it's my 1 month to the day wedding anniversary to my wife, Carrie. We got back from Key West. We bought this motorcycle as our wedding present for each other.
Right.
And, so now I'm in the squad, headed to intensive care in Columbus. Turned out I had broken collarbone, 8 broken ribs, punctured lung, But the big thing was, even though I was wearing a helmet, I had a head injury. So, we get to Columbus, get through all that, get up in the room. And now I'm thinking, not only am I about killed, there's no way my new wife is going to want me to get on a motorcycle again.
Right.
So now, I'm losing a lot. So long story short, my parents show up, they take her out to breakfast, kind of relax. Yeah. She comes back with a cycle trailer and she says, "You wrecked my wedding present. Find me another one."
There you go.
Yeah. So that's how I knew she was a keeper right there, So a little bit later, I was seeing double from my head trauma. I was seeing a double. So this ophthalmologist came in and he looks at my chart and he said, "Well, I bet you're done with those donor cycles now, aren't you?" I'm like, "Doc, I'm already shopping for my next one."
That's right. Right. Hey, but wait a second. So no more cop life for you then, right?
That was it. Yeah, that was, it was a long process. I worked at getting back. I worked. And, I still remember the day, like the neurologist kicked me in the gut. Oh, he said, "You're going to have to find something else to do because, with your injuries, my vision was messed up. My hearing is messed up. Some of my, I had some left frontal lobe damage that affected my emotions. I would go from being mad and punching a hole in the wall to crying in the corner and just then back to normal, like it's like a roller coaster. Right. So, made it through that, got all retired, and that's like, now what, I'm not making any money. Right. I felt lost.
You got to pay bills, man. You got to pay bills.
Yeah. And, I isolated myself from my friends and coworkers because every time you ran into one, they were like, "Hey, what are you going to do now?" And I had no idea. None. So
you just kind of going day by day, man, just trying to figure out life,
trying to figure it out. Yeah. And it's those,
how depressed were you, man? Honestly though, how depressed were you at that time?
Yeah. I was pretty much done. It's like, what am I going to do? Yeah. I've got a wife and kids to support. I don't know if I'm even employable at this point, let alone, to get back to something equivalent to what I was doing before, which was my life.
So you always wanted to be a cop. That was your thing.
Always, and that's another thing that caught me out was I was doing what I loved. I wanted to be on the road. I wanted to be arresting people. Yeah. I wanted to be taking drunks off the road, saving lives, helping people. That's my passion, is helping people. And eventually I found another way to do it. And that's through, coaching and leadership at work.
Right.
But it's just little conversations you have with people. I run into a sergeant, or he calls and tells me, "Hey, how are things going?" I'm like, "Yeah, Sergeant, I have no idea what I'm going to do."
Yeah.
And he says, "Well, it's not like you've been standing on an assembly line putting lug nuts on a car, for the last 15 years. Right, You've got skills." And that's what starts you looking internally and saying, "Okay, I do have transferable skills that companies would love to have."
Yeah.
As like anybody does, whether they decide to retire, whether they have to retire, whether, something else comes along, or they just say, "I'm done," and walk away from it.
Yeah.
You have those skills. So,
but Coach, let me go back a little bit, okay. Because were you trying to get back into law enforcement again right after it happened? Was it like your goal was, "This is what I love, I'm going to try to get back into it"? Did you spend some time in that and then you've realized, "Oh, crap"?
Yeah, I had no intention of doing anything else. It's what I do.
Yeah.
And as a result, I didn't have a degree.
Yeah.
I had tuition reimbursement available to me for, most of that 15 years that I was in law, with the patrol.
Yeah.
Never took advantage of it.
Never used it.
Too busy. This is what I want to do. I don't need it. Even back then, You didn't need a degree to get promoted, really, unless you went above maybe the post commander level. Yeah. Then they wanted you to have something. But so no college degree, no network at all. Right. Other than
because your life was all the comp world. If it wasn't a comp world, that wasn't really your life.
Right. Yeah. If you saw somebody that left, cop world, like you said, it's like, wonder what's going on with them. Yeah. People don't leave, you get in there. Yeah. You get into that brother and sisterhood, and that's just where you stay because you can't find anything like it anywhere else outside of public service.
But you moved on from that. So you move on from it. And I'm guessing you got your vision back. You're able to align both. Right now you're seeing like two Carloses. I'm sure now you're only seeing one. But were you able to align back your vision? And so what was your thought after that? Yeah, I got that together. So what do I do?
Yeah. Yeah. So, then I started exploring, what my interests were, what I might like to do otherwise. It turns out I was always good with computers when I was a kid. Yeah. And I thought, all right, so I'm good with computers. I've got the police background. Maybe I can go into computer forensics. Wow. So I ended up at a computer boot camp or computer forensics boot camp in Chicago, right. Week long, 7 a to 7 p every day. And you walk out of there with 2 certifications. Oh, nice. Got about Wednesday, and I realized that wasn't for me. And again, it's comparing that world to cop world. Right. You go out on break, you walk up to a group of people. If you're in a law enforcement setting, you can walk up to any group of people and you automatically fit in. Yeah. There, you walk over to this one, you kind of stand outside and like, I have no idea what those people are talking about. I'll go over to this one, no idea. And so Nationwide called. I'd applied for a corporate security officer. They are. And the rest is history, Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I only have like one joke So yeah, they called you up.
That's right. Yeah, so they called me while I was in Chicago and said, "Hey, we've got an opening. Do you want to come in for an interview?" And their job posting was so kind of vague that I didn't know whether it was like corporate security officer or a uniformed security officer. Well, it turned out to be a uniformed security officer. Right. And I went in, and timing's everything in some of this stuff. I go in, I interview, and the supervisor that was interviewing me says, "Hey, I don't think you're suited to be a uniformed security officer, but in the next quarter, we're creating 3 more supervisor level positions. I think you'd be perfect for that. My boss is a retired major from the Ohio State Highway Patrol." Yeah. And so, I called him once a week for the next 3 months saying, "Hey,
is it next quarter yet? Is it next quarter yet? Is it next quarter yet? Are we there yet, Mom? Are we there?"
Finally, I got that call. And, I remember I was all my eggs were in one basket at that point, and I was just so pumped up, excited, nervous that I was going to blow it. I went in for another interview, and this was, like I said, a retired major from the Highway Patrol interviewed me, and he retired about the time I graduated from the academy. So, about 15, 16 years before that. But just that little tie that binds, we were both from the Highway Patrol. We kind of passed in when I was in the academy, maybe the senior staff would come in and do a panel discussion or something, but he didn't know me from Adam, just that I was a gray shirt. And so he decided to, run me up to his boss, who had some previous law enforcement as well. They decided to hire me, and I came into it knowing nothing about corporate security.
Welcome to corporate security. Boom. It's yours. Yeah. It's yours now.
Yeah. So luckily I had retail experience when I was in high school.
Okay.
And before I got on the patrol, I worked at, Village True Value in Fredericktown, Ohio.
Hey.
And, then I worked at Lowe's back before Lowe's was everywhere.
Right. Right.
But, I really credit that experience with my success in law enforcement.
Yep.
I very rarely had any resistings or any trouble with people that I was arresting.
Right.
They understood at the end of the day, you're going to have to do what I want you to do.
Right.
But, I know this is a rough situation for you. I'm going to deal with you with respect. I'm going to give you as much dignity as possible.
Right.
And, as a result, it was pretty smooth sailing for me through
I'll
there.
tell you, I had John Lineweaver on the podcast. Johnny, I hope all is well, buddy. John Lineweaver, and we were talking about the importance of working in the hospitality industry for a little bit before you go into anywhere, corporate security, military, law enforcement, how key that was to how he proceeds doing his business today, how I proceed doing my business today, coming from Disney, as everybody knows. But yeah, man, that is key. But so listen, you kick this thing off and you start working out there. But I remember you and I talking a little bit about that because your time wasn't done yet, or at least you still felt that your time wasn't done in law enforcement, that you had some things that you constantly came back and you thought about while now you're in this new career. There's some things that you struggled with. And I love for the listeners to hear some of these things that you struggle with because your time wasn't done yet. You were still you're supposed to be a law enforcement guy, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, it's funny, excuse me. It's funny. It turns out a lot of this stuff is in your head. It's just self-limiting beliefs that you have. So, I get the rug yanked out from under me. I have no college degree, no certifications, anything.
Right.
So I get my foot in the door at Nationwide, and now I'm on a mission. Now I'm going after that certification. Now I'm figuring out how to get back to school. And, it was a grieving process that I went through, and this was my way out of it.
Yeah.
And, one thing I wanted to thank you for, Carlos, was how you and your guests are helping break the stigma around mental health and therapy.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Because really you've got to put your own oxygen mask on first, like they say, before you can help others.
Yeah.
And, one of the big moments through my injuries and recovery, my neurologist sent me to see a neuropsychologist.
Oh, nice.
And so Carrie and I are sitting there, we've been married, maybe 6 months at this time. He walks in the room and says, "Hey, welcome to the 5% club." We looked at him, we're like, what's that mean? And he says, 95% of people of couples where one or the others had a traumatic brain injury end up divorced.
Wow.
So that's what it took for me. They've been saying, "Hey, you should probably go talk to somebody. You should probably go talk to somebody."
Yeah.
It wasn't until that point where it's like, oh my gosh, I have got a lot to lose here.
Yeah.
That we started going to therapy together, and we found a guy, and that's what I would say. If you go to therapy and it's not working, go see someone else. You've got to have that chemistry, that connection there.
Yeah.
And, it really addressed some stuff that I probably should have addressed even before my crash,
Right.
just stuff that you're dragging along with you, but you're like, hey, that's the way this job works. It's a regular day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, so all that falls under the topic of loss of identity and mission.
Yeah.
I was doing what I loved. My kids are like, "Hey, my dad's a state trooper,"
Right.
and I couldn't figure out anything else that might give me that status, even with them,
Right.
let alone, any of the people I worked before. So, I think a key is, if you're leaving against your will or not as your own choice,
right,
you have to forgive yourself for any perceived errors or bad decisions that led you to that point.
I'm writing that down, by the way, Coach. I want you to know whatever you tell me, I'm writing down, man. Forgive yourself. That's deep.
I'll give you, and I'll give you a 2-word little cliche: fail forward. Learn from your mistakes, and a lot of that is what coaching does for you.
Yeah,
you get to dig into that stuff, and you find out why that voice in your head is holding you back from being the best you can be.
Yeah, so I went through that, man. I went through that too. So, and that's the reason why I openly talk about it, and I invite everybody to talk about it. Dr. Ari is my best guy, man. He's what I call my pressure valve release. There's a release, and every once in a while I need to release that valve. So that is really cool. And I like to fail forward too, man.
Yeah.
And then, go ahead. I'm sorry.
The other thing you have to do is release the anger. Why'd this happen to me? Or those bastards were out to get me. They were going to find something to cut my feet out from under me, and they finally did.
Yeah.
So, that's more of a therapy type situation than coaching. So I'll give you a real quick explanation. So therapy is to bring you from your past to your present, make you a whole person, put that stuff behind you. Then coaching takes you from that present whole person forward. All right, where are we going from here? You can do anything, and we'll just, go through it, discuss it, figure out, exactly what you want to do.
Yep.
Why you want to do it. And make sure it aligns with your values.
Yep.
And then work on those internal and external blocks that are getting in your way.
So as you were struggling through all these things, which many law enforcement, military folks, any of those folks that I always mention that had to leave early from their, so you're going to see a psychologist, a neuropsychologist, and you're working that stuff out. And first of all, I'm gonna give it up to your wife, man. Because hold on, let me get the clap. There's a clap. I got to give it up to her because, you guys just recently married. You lose the career that you love. You're in the middle of an accident. You're trying to rebuild everything. You're upset, depressed, nothing is feeling the way it used to. And she still stood by your side, my friend. So
that's incredible. Technically she was married to a different person, at that point. It wasn't what she signed up for by any means.
Yeah. And,
we still go see our guy, a couple times a year. We'll go check in and see how things are going. And, sometimes we're carrying something over from the last time we saw him, and we just had it, but so, you release that anger, forgive yourself and get through that grieving process. So, I don't have any transferable skills. These are false assumptions. I'm damaged goods. Nobody's going to hire me. I got a black mark on my record.
Right.
I don't have the skills that they're looking for, and as I mentioned, what am I going to do that gives me the same status as what I was doing before? Right. Why even bother? So,
and that's in your mind, though. You're fighting through all of this in your mind, man.
That's right? your judge, and that's another thing with coaching. You figure that guy out. And at some point when you were a kid, when you were a teenager, you invented this judge to protect you from certain situations.
Right.
But he stayed, past his usefulness. So now he's just holding you back. Yeah. Yes.
Past his welcome. So now now you're in it. You're getting better mentally. You're getting help. You're psychologist. You're in the workplace now. Now you're in the workplace, and you're in the middle of this new thing called corporate security. You heard about it. You heard about it, but you never seen it. Okay.
Yeah. So
what was
Nationwide,
it like, man?
Well, Nationwide they have a proprietary guard force. So all their officers are Nationwide associates. It's all in-house, and it's top notch. We got top notch people. We got top notch management. We hit the top 15 in Security Magazine every year. Yeah. Just incredible experience. And one of the things that you may have to do, especially if you're not, a commander or like some of your other guests, they're coming out of administrative positions, you may have to take what feels like a step backwards. I took a second shift corporate security supervisor role. I had about 20 direct reports. I worked with another supervisor that had about 20 direct reports.
Right.
But I was, Tuesday, Wednesdays off, working 3 to 11.
Oh,
it's like, wow.
Tuesday, Wednesday, that's bad.
Yeah.
I've been there. I hear you. I hear you.
But at the time, again, all my eggs were in one basket, which, if there's any way, and we'll talk about that with your book, any way of getting all your eggs out of that basket. Yeah. That would be the thing to do. So, but it worked out. I was supported. They supported my development. Yeah. I got involved in the local ASIS chapter.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I thought, you know what? I'm going to jump in with both feet. I ran for vice chair. Maybe the second year I was there, got promoted or got elected as vice chair, then chair the next year. Put together their annual seminar and exhibits, with about 50 vendors and, speaker, lined up all the speakers and everything. Kept on going through there, networking, learning about other aspects of corporate security. I mean, you had end users, you had contract security, you had other in-house security, you had gas station security, Wendy's, restaurant security, and it's all retail, it's all different and put together, and it operates. It's really fascinating. And, then you've got the suppliers, you've got the, the integrators, you've got the manufacturers there.
Oh,
so you are
all
learning,
the security systems folks,
learning about everything.
Oh, yeah.
And that's, I consider myself a lifelong learner. And so anytime, I can learn stuff like that, I do it.
I tell people all the time, get into these groups, ASIS groups and stuff. I'm a CPP. And I tell people, if you're not, before even you're retiring, you're not checking into those groups, creating new relationships, learning some new stuff, you're failing yourself, Right.
Yeah. So, I had to put in a couple additional years to qualify for the CPP because I didn't have a bachelor's degree.
That's right.
So I'm thinking, how am I going to differentiate myself from everybody else here? Yeah. Because everybody's talking, oh, I'm going to get my CPP. Oh, I'm going to go back to school. Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Then they don't do it. You come back a year later and they're still like, yeah, it just hasn't been a good time. Right. So I did it. I studied in secret and I took the test in secret because that thing was a bear. Yeah. And if I failed it, I didn't want to tell anybody about it. I'd sneak back and take it again. But yeah, I got through that. And then I went back to school, and this is another thing you look at. If you get in that situation where you've been through the military, you've been through the fire academy, you've been through the police academy, a lot of schools out there will give you credits for that. So I went to Franklin University in Columbus, Ohio, and they gave me something like 24 semester hours for my commission. And, that's a year, that put me a year ahead. Plus I had, a few classes back out of, high school. Yeah. So I threw some credits together and ended up getting my bachelor's degree in public safety management.
There you go.
So, so those two things, a new campus opened up in Columbus. They created a security manager spot for it about 5 years ago now. And, I applied for it and was promoted. So now, first time in my life, you know, I've been in retail, I've been in law enforcement, I've been in corporate security. Here I am, you know, 44 years old, and I've got my first Monday through Friday, 8A to 4P gig.
There you go.
Oh,
there
yeah.
You go. Welcome, man. Well, listen, we can keep on talking this forever, and it's horrible. It's like 30 minutes long, so we're gonna have to do a second one again. But everybody, wonderful. you gotta go and check out Scott Wolford on LinkedIn. You got to go in and check out beyondthebluecoaching.com. You know, Scott, you're doing a bunch of things. Look, I got to cut it short, but leave people with just a couple things, man. For these folks that are, you know, transitioning now from the law enforcement, military, federal careers, leave them with a couple of things, man, on our way out, and just, again, remind them of who you are and what you do, my friend.
Thank you. Yeah. So, you know, a couple of these are just little taglines that people have given me over the years that I've held on to. There's life after law enforcement. You know, at a point where you're transitioning, you're thinking, nope, there's not, but there is. You know, trust me, the money's there. You know, it's so much less stress.
Yep.
You know, it can be stressful, but usually it's self-imposed stress. And then dig your well before you're thirsty. You know, get out there, get networking, get into your self-development. You know, look at what you might want to do after you retire. You know, I know you talk about the 1-3-5 plan. Yeah. You know, get started early, figure out what you want to do, and figure out what kind of qualifications you're going to need to get noticed when you go to do that stuff.
I love it.
And then learn all you can from the experiences of others. You know, learn from other people's mistakes and what would you have done different, and, you know, why did you do it this way? So, and no, don't underestimate your abilities. You're an ideal employee for the private sector. You know, who else comes in to a job with core values like adaptability, you know, performance-driven professionalism, self-discipline, you know, team-oriented. You know, you're the package. You've just got to package yourself and brand yourself right to get there. Absolutely, so, man. Yeah, so I went from, you know, putting the ASE together for the Columbus chapter of ASIS to today, I just got invited to be the keynote speaker for the ASE this year. Yes, thank you. I told him, awesome. I said, you know, I'm somebody who's always wanted to have given a keynote speech. Between now and the keynote, I'm not too excited about it, but after it's done, that's awesome. Yeah. So what an honor. I'm really happy. It's May 20th, ASIS27.org, and it's all virtual. So you can come from anywhere this year.
That's right.
And, you know, then you can find me on LinkedIn, Scott R. Wolford, and, you know, Nationwide Insurance, if one of those other Scott Wolfords come up. Yeah. And then my website, beyondthebluecoaching.com. And
man, I'm looking forward. I'm going to link all that. Make sure you remind me of that, man. I'm going to link it all. But this is huge. I appreciate you, man. From everything that we talked about today, you should have gotten that to use that tuition reimbursement when you were still a cop. From timing is everything. Forgiving yourself, failing forward, which is a huge one, man. Release that anger and the relationship with ASIS and how good it can be for folks that have never been in the corporate world, just to get a taste of what it is. Some folks to talk to like yourself. And and thank you, Coach. Thank you for coaching folks. There's a lot of people out there, man, that have that feeling that I never finished what I was supposed to do, and I just need help getting through it. And you're it. So everybody, if you're feeling that way, if you got out of military, law enforcement, emergency services, anywhere, okay, but you still have things to achieve, you know, Scott is the one that's going to be able to help you out, man, to reset you in that passion and the goal, and he's going to help you achieve those goals. So, look, thank you again, Scott, for coming out. I appreciate you so much, bud. And that's that. So we'll leave it here, everybody. Thank you for listening once again. Me, the corporate security translator and the author of So You Want to Get Into Corporate Security, another chapter in the books with Scott Wolford. Thank you very much. Check him out, beyondthebluecoaching.com, and find him on LinkedIn. All right, everybody.
Thanks, Carlos. Thanks, everyone.
Take care. We'll see ya. Bye-bye.